So, we made a start on the bug exhibit last time. I suppose we should continue. Welcome back, everyone, to Create Dino, episode 38, where, yeah, we're gonna continue with the bug house that we've got here and stuff, because we made a decent start last episode. You know, we've got some Megalograptus swimming about who seem to be taking damage. I think that's because they're starving. We have an Arthroplura somewhere. There it is. And we have what I think is a Dicranurus. There it is. And I don't have any sort of specific idea for what I think I want to work on this episode, but let's just go with Walliserops, sure. So right, let's just go and chuck both of those in the cultivation vat, and whilst I'm waiting for these, I'm gonna do some research. So let's see, Walliserops, I keep saying it incorrectly and stuff. Early reports of trident trilobites, that would make sense with whatever that thing is. Let's see, where did this thing live? Okay, I've seen a few things mentioned, like sort of shallow waters and everything, but nothing is actually giving me specifics. So we might just need to go based off of some assumptions here. But okay, also, whilst I wait for those, one of you guys mentioned in the comments that I keep actually forgetting to go and use a bunch of prehistoric plants. And yeah, I will admit, that is my fault. I keep saying I'll use them, and then I forget that I have them in here. So where are they? So like, we have a bunch of these sort of things. Now, I am wondering, would any of these work underwater, maybe? I would like to get some horsetail seeds, though, because horsetails would actually go quite well in one of our existing enclosures. So I think I'm going to take some horsetail seeds, some fern seeds, and also some fuchsia spores, which I know that I have used those before, I think. But I suppose it's probably about time that we get to making some more bio-goo as well, because we are actually running out. Okay, I think these are done. Yep, there we go. Right, and these definitely are born in the water. Right, okay, so I'm going to chuck the fern seeds in there. I'm not entirely sure how long this will take. There is also a chance that the cultivation fails and then these culture vats are going to break. But for now, we have the eggs for what we want, and I need to go and build this enclosure. So let's see. Since you are an aquatic animal, should we put you right next to this one? I feel like it would make sense, especially since I think you're both subsections of trilobite. The question is, how big do we make it? Because I do seem to have marked out a little area like this, so would this be big enough? I think it would. I don't think these guys are too big. I think it is fairly similar to this guy next door. In which case, I should also probably go and use most of the same resources and everything. So a lot of this stone and definitely some sand on the bottom here. As for plants, again, I'm not entirely sure what prehistoric plants are aquatic and what isn't, so I don't actually know which things I need to bring back. So actually, a request for you guys in the comments, are any of these things like aquatic plants at all? Because I have absolutely no clue. As far as I am aware, these are all land things. And yes, I think just like this one, a mixture of sand and sandstone on the bottom. These are basically going to be near identical enclosures, really. And then another sort of manual texturing of all of this on the wall. And then, of course, we need to put all of the glass here and stuff. Now, that does mean this enclosure is going to get really small really quickly, but considering the fact that it seems to be a small creature, I don't think it's too bad. However, I would definitely like to work on some bigger enclosures this episode as well. So there we go, that is just like that, and now I need to actually get some water in here. Some leaves will go here nicely, then a little bit of bone meal, and finally, we just put in the creatures. Oh my god, they're so small! Oh, that's actually really adorable. Oh my gosh, right, are you self-feeding? Yeah, you are. Oh my gosh, you literally have 1 health. Oh, you are so weak. That thing will literally die if I punch it. Oh my gosh. But right, okay, so that's 1 enclosure done, but I will admit, it's kind of small, and it's basically an identical copy of this one. So I'm gonna see if we can get a bigger thing. Oh my gosh, did I just see that in third person though? Is this thing flying finally? Oh my gosh. Oh, you're really cool, but also like kind of scary and really loud. Now, I do know know that these things eat meat and stuff, so I really hope they're not hostile. Like, if I come in here, can I see? Are you aggressive? Are you gonna go after me at all? You are not tamed, but I don't think you're aggressive. The one thing is, they are quite unhappy as well, which someone else did point out in the comments, so I'm definitely gonna need to get some enrichment for them. But for now, though, my main concern is, what's our next thing? Because, yeah, Walliserops, it was kind of fun, but it's basically what we've already got. What about Scoter Harpy? Let's see, what are you like? You're basically the same as what we've already got. Megalograptus sounds kind of cool. Oh, you're the massive lobster scorpion thing. Okay, we are definitely going with this guy. Okay, and looking it up, Google is telling me that it is also another shallow water creature. However, this one, kind of because it looks like a lobster, I feel like I can justify it coming out of the water a bit. You know, a bit like crabs. Do lobsters even leave the water? If you can't tell, I am not an expert in anything that I do here. But since this thing seems like it could come out of the water, like, in my head, I don't know if that's accurate. We're gonna make a beach enclosure. And you know what? This can be our first two-story enclosure. Because, oh my gosh, we can have, like, all of the water under here and everything. But then, of course, we've got this staircase coming up. And up on the top here, we can have the beach. Oh my gosh, this is the best idea ever. You guys can all thank me later for being such a genius. I am stuck in here. There's no way out of this one. Okay, though, right. I think we have a pretty cool idea for this enclosure and stuff. So, yeah, underwater section here, above ground section up there. Now, it's definitely going to be a little bit tight for space because, of course, like, anywhere where there's water, it actually gets quite thin, so we might have to put the glass above the cobblestone here, which is not going to line up the best with what we've sort of got around here and everything, but I think just for the sake of space, we're going to need to. Or, the alternative is I could just remove this back wall, because, I mean, like, there is just a hill here. So yeah, you know what? I think that's the best idea. I'm gonna tear out this back wall so that we're just left with, like, the space for the terrain and everything. And then either the glass is going to go here or it's going to go here. But either way, I should hopefully have a little more space. And also, what I might need to do for this one is actually build this staircase finally, because of course I need to be able to get guests up here. So making assumptions for how big this is going to be, yeah, this one might be the biggest enclosure yet, because my assumption is it will probably take up all of this space down here and also probably up to this pillar here. But right, let's make a start on this. I'm gonna go and get some resources. And also, we're gonna start digging out this back wall. So yeah, I guess I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I know I sort of made it sound like I was going to be collecting a bunch of resources there. I don't need that many. However, whilst I was messing around and stuff, I was trying to think of something to put as the roof for this enclosure, because if we're gonna build on top of it, I need to put a roof on this thing finally. And I was like, hey, what's a nice sort of sky blue color? Something that looks good, because, like, I want something that looks nice for the Arthropleura. The Meganeura and everything, it's a bit more swampy and stuff, so it fits a darker color. But over here, I feel like it deserves something brighter. And that is when I remembered that we found this thing, Skyrus wood. And I'm pretty sure we got this like 2 episodes ago when we first came up with the concept of the bug house and stuff, but I have realized something. This would work really well for a water backdrop. Like, think about it. We're going to be doing a shallow water enclosure again and stuff, and like, whilst I can do rock on some of it, wouldn't it be cool to do like not rock in some places? This feels like that very shallow underwater color and everything, so I think if we do this as a backdrop for this enclosure, it's gonna look really nice. And I might not do it everywhere, like I'm thinking literally sort of just on this back wall around here. I think like any sort of side walls are still gonna be rock. So like, I don't know, if I had to go and plan it out, I would basically say like everything like this is sort of sky blue, but then this wall here can be stone, stone, or it's gonna be a pile up of sand, because of course it's kind of supposed to be a beach. I don't know, that's just sort of what I was thinking about whilst I was designing this and everything, and I think I actually really like the idea. And luckily, because of our nice little tree farm, which has now been moved all the way over there and stuff, it's not too difficult to farm. So yeah, I think as a base starting point, this is definitely a nice thing to begin with. And yeah, it'll probably stop somewhere around this height, just because like the water needs to end here, because also you gotta remember the floor goes like here. So this is gonna be a fairly tall building and everything, but yeah, like the water line has to stop somewhere, because we want all of up here to be a bit more like a beach area. And you know what? I think just one more layer. So yeah, obviously I'm gonna need my seeker wood again. I'm gonna need my sand and sandstone. However, I would also like to get some birch wood for this. I've kind of forgotten about the fact that birch wood was in a lot of my texturing. Where have I put a bunch of my saplings? Okay, so we'll just go and grow a couple of these. And yeah, I think just mixing this in a little bit will go nicely. So yeah, that seems good there. As for what's going to go up here and everything, I'm not entirely sure how it will look yet. But considering the fact that like this is where sort of the roof is and then the floor's gonna be here, definitely quite tight on space. Because I mean, we've actually got more space on the beach than we have underwater, but I don't think there's anything I can do about that, really. So I think we're just gonna need to roll with what we've got. Because yeah, also changing the design of this one is gonna mean changing the design of the entire building and everything, and like shuffling around different enclosures, and I like the enclosures we've got right now. So I think it's probably for the best that we just leave it how it is. So yeah, glass coming all the way up here. Now, I think the pillars are probably gonna need to go here and here, just because, of course, I need to block out this sky blue color from, like, being outside. So let's see, how are we doing for space? Yeah, it's workable. Definitely not perfect, but, like, workable. And also, since this is a really tall enclosure, I am wondering, how high up does this glass need to go? Because, I mean, there's gonna be a pathway coming around here, so I feel like the glass is going to need to be split into 2 sections, probably. Because, yeah, it's gonna need to be very similar to what's down there and everything, where, like, it sort of gets cut off, and then there's gonna be a pathway at this height here. So, I mean, I'll continue building it up for now, but, like, I'm gonna need to split this in half at one point. It's not gonna remain this tall. And I'm also realizing I haven't considered what it's gonna look like up here, especially since, like, right here, we're breaking outside of the building. Because, yeah, this is the edge of the building here, so am I gonna need to make it so that, like, this is the wall? Like, is everything built here going to need to be the exterior wall and stuff? That's a bit of a tricky question, actually. I didn't think about that. Oh, Pineapple, you gotta think through stuff before you build it a bit more. But there we go. I mean, like, the beach is looking somewhat nice. And of course, since this isn't dealing with flowing water and everything, we can actually use glass panes here, so we've got a little bit more space. And I think, especially if there's gonna be a dividing bit of wood here along there and stuff, it won't look too weird. Because, like, there will quite literally be a floor in the way, so you won't be able to see both together. Okay, though, so what I think I am going to do, basically, like, I need to sort of bring all of this up and everything, and a lot of this is the exact same stuff we've seen before, like, fill this in and add a little decoration, which I'll probably do on camera with you. But all of this sort of really boring stuff of just building up the walls and everything, I don't want to commentate over that all the time, and you guys probably get bored of seeing it, so what I am going to do, whilst I finish off building this, we're gonna go into a little montage. And yeah, I'll see you when we're ready to do something significant. Welcome back. It's been maybe an hour, and I have done a decent bit of work, a lot more than I actually expected to be doing. Because as you can see around me here, we have made a start on actually building up the exterior of this place as well. And yeah, as I just said, I didn't really intend to do that. It was more of just like, I needed to work out what sort of gradient had to go here and stuff, because of course this is the exterior wall. So of course that meant that I finally needed to to work out what gradient is actually going on the wall and stuff. And by the way, we can remove these two. This is not part of it. So, you know, I worked out this nice gradient here, which goes from cordiates all the way to stripped spruce. But then, of course, I needed to work out what part of that gradient was visible in the enclosure, so I just built up the exterior. And I'm gonna be honest, I am really happy with how it is looking so far. I really like it. So yeah, currently it's just cordiates and stripped cordiates, and then it actually moves into cordiates planks. And as you can see, it's still got spruce planks and stripped spruce to go and everything, but like, it's looking good. And of course, it's very basic on the outside right now. Like, there is absolutely nothing done to really do anything more with texturing. There's no depth in this. It's currently just very flat. So, you know, don't worry if you don't like the look of it right now. It is going to be improved, just not relevant to what we're doing right now, and therefore I am not working on it yet. What we are working on, however, is this enclosure, which now we can finally do the interior of it, because, you know, there's an exterior finally. So of course, this is kind of going to be split into two sections, because we have two sections to work with here. So we've got the beach and we've got underwater. Now, for underwater, we could just go very similar. We could just bone meal it and call it a day. Oh, that thing is so much bigger now. Like, we could just bone meal it and call it a day. However, I would like to see if maybe we could put some kelp in there. I just feel like kelp would look quite good and kind of fit with, like, the lobster thing. It just kind of feels like the sort of thing that would like hiding in kelp a little bit. And then up on the surface, I'm wondering, what if we put a few rocks here? Now, I'm not talking about, like, a rocky background like we've got with the underwater enclosures over there. Like, no, I mean actual rocks. You know, like out here and stuff, just smaller. So that's what I'm considering and everything. Now, annoyingly, I do need to fill this with water before I can decorate it, because I can't actually decorate stuff and then flood it. So it's a little inconvenient, but like nothing too major. And yeah, so I'll go and grab some kelp from down here just to see what this will be like. Annoyingly, I don't think there's a way to limit the growth of kelp underwater, which does mean that like this is just going to grow all the way up to the surface, most likely. And there we go. So that's all of the water in and stuff. I think that's looking good right now. And then as for the kelp, let's just kind of scatter it around a little bit. We don't want it covering everything. I'm thinking just sort of this little corner around here. Yeah, that seems good. And then we can go and bone meal some areas as well, but leave like a little bit clear. So I might just get rid of like a few bits like that. Yeah, because this sort of deeper area I'm okay with being a bit more densely filled as well. And then I would like to see if I can get some leaves up here and everything. However, I don't think I'm going to use fir leaves again, because I've just kind of used them everywhere. So I'm wondering if there's something a little better that I could use. And of course, as for the surface up here, I have had a fun little idea, and I'm not sure if it'll work, but like, can I make buttons with the... I can. Okay, so I'm not sure if any of you are gonna understand what I'm thinking here, but like, if I go and do that, it's a seashell. Hey, do you get what I mean? Please tell me you get what I mean. Is this creative? Does this look good? Like, bam, seashell. Please be impressed with this. I was happy with this idea. I'm just thinking, like, if I can do this for several colors or something, it might look quite nice. Now, of course, trying to think of other shell colors that we could go with and stuff. Obviously, there's Zelkova, which is a nice orange, maybe. But also, I'm wondering, could we do, like, a slightly pink one even? Like, let's see. Let's just try that. Yeah, I like that. And also, I'm thinking we don't need to go with any, like, massive rocks here. So what I might do is literally just a couple slabs like that. Like, genuinely, I think that is all that's going to be needed. So I think all that's left for that enclosure specifically is we just need to put the leaves in, and then, of course, we can put our Megalograptus in. And yeah, I am thinking ebony leaves might fit this quite well. Just like... yeah, because also, I don't think these change color with the environment either. So let's see, just like putting that in there. Yeah, I really like that. I think that fits. So of course, we can just go and scatter a little bit down here and everything, and I am liking this. I think one last bit just right there. So now, it's time to just go and make our weird scorpion thing. I am really excited to see what these things look like in the mod. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Really? Cultivation failure? Great. I'm now just down to 1 cultivation vat. And I'm out of biogoo. Brilliant. I'm going to angrily craft this. Genuinely, if there's one thing that I hate about this mod pack, it's just the fact that, like, cultivations can fail, and if you don't notice, all your stuff despawns. So great, I've just lost a tree. I don't know what tree. Or was it Fusia spores or something? I don't know. I've lost something. They're gone, never to return, because they were the only ones that I had. Okay, so I have gone and replaced all of the culture vats and stuff, but also our 2 Megalograptus are now done. And along with replacing these, I've also gone and made a bunch of biogoo and everything. It is so tedious to craft because you have to swap out the buckets each time. But right, finally, we can go and put the Megalograptus into its enclosure. I'm really excited for these ones. Maybe it's just the fact that they look like a weird lobster scorpion. Hi, mate. Yeah, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be in there. Why are you out here? Do you mind not wandering away from me? You're untamed. How do I tame you? I don't know what to do with you. Wait, this is not what I expected to be doing. I might be able to tame it with potatoes. Did it say you like potatoes? Are you a fan of potatoes? Yeah, you eat potatoes. What if I just give... Oh my gosh. Yep, you're now mine. I need to get you back in your enclosure. Hi, mate. I see you poking out from under there. Right, I need you to follow me, and we're gonna put you right back where you came from. Come on, where are you? You're up there. Do you mind going in? Yeah, don't give me that look. You know what you've done. You're supposed to be in here. Go on, get in. There we go. Thank you very much. You can go back to wandering. Right, well, with that distraction out of the way, let's go and put in the Megalograptus finally. So there's 1 and there is 2. You know what? I just realized these might be a sort of creature that actually attacks their own. I maybe should have checked that. By the way, are you 2 tamed at all? You're not tamed. And you eat fish, so I can't even really tame you that easily. Well, there we go. We have Megalograptus. However, as I believe I have stated, so there's 9 creatures that we intend to go in here eventually and stuff. I want to be doing 3 per episode, which means we have 1 more. Don't make noises at me. And I am thinking, let's just go and pick another random one. We are going to go with Crassigyrinus. Tell me, please, what is that? Oh, it's the kind of big newt thing. So, based on all of the images and stuff, yep, swamps. That is exactly what I was expecting. Oh, it's Scottish. Okay, this term is not giving me much hope. But yep, Natural History Museum says swamp, so I'm gonna trust that. Brilliant, we get to make another swamp. I like making swamps. The swamps are fun. Now, let's see. This one is also going to likely be quite big and stuff, and considering the fact that it might need room for a tree above it, because, you know, swamps kind of feel like they should have some trees, I am thinking maybe it goes right here. You know, above the other ones and everything, so we're gonna be stacking another thing on top of this. But, like, considering the fact that the enclosure below it is also kind of swampy and everything, yeah, this feels like the best place. So I think it's time for our second story enclosure. And since this one's gonna be kind of similar to some of the other ones that we've built, I think we should just go ahead and get to building it. Let's see how this goes. Okay, once again, I have done quite a bit of work, because as you can see, we actually kind of have a second floor coming in here. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I am debating actually making it 1 block thinner up here, just because it feels very filled in to the point where you almost don't even notice that there's actually a gap here. Hold on a second. he's eaten all my leaves. There used to be leaves down there. But yeah, it just feels like it's filled in so much to the point where you don't realize that it's kind of supposed to be a second floor balcony and everything, so I might make it a little bit thinner, I'm not sure. But along with at least having a floor here now, as you can see, we have got this enclosure here for the Crassigyrinus or whatever it's called, and I've also cultivated it. So I mean, it's ready to spawn. The only reason why I have not actually spawned it yet is because basically this enclosure is supposed to be filled with water. Like up to this layer, basically this is supposed to be the only bit of grass above the water and stuff. But the thing is, because I don't have Silk Touch, I've just been waiting for grass to spread and everything, and obviously like once I go and put water in here, that's not gonna happen. So I'm kind of waiting for grass to at least reach this little island bit and everything, and then I can remove this bridge. And yeah, basically I'm just waiting for grass to spread across all of these bridges so that I can remove them, and then I can fill it with water. But honestly, I'm probably just gonna fill it in with water much earlier because this is taking such a long time. And you know, I just kind of want to get this done. But like, I am liking how all of this is looking and stuff. It's a bit of a mess in here, I will admit, and we're going to clean it up, obviously. My plan is basically once all of the animals are in here and stuff, we'll probably do another episode going and doing final decorations, finishing the outside, and also doing all the stuff on the inside, like clearing it up. So hopefully that's all going to look really good once it's done. Also, by the way, our little lobster things are done. They've grown up. They're really cute. There we go, finally. Oh my gosh. Alright, so this bridge is no longer necessary because it's spreading to absolutely nothing. This bridge has to stay. This one is almost entirely redundant because if grass spreads there, then it will be fine. And yeah, all of these other bridges are unfortunately necessary. But I am done waiting. We're gonna fill this in with water, finally. There we go. I am really liking the look of this. And I think this thing is actually entirely aquatic. So if I am correct, I should just be able to leave this doorway open for me to get in and out of here for a while. Because, like, I don't think this thing's ever going to escape. Like, looking at it, it doesn't look like it ever climbs out of the water. If it does, then, of course, I'm going to need to block it off. But for now, that is our third and final thing for this episode done. And yeah, I will admit this enclosure is not complete and stuff, but the thing is, it is literally just waiting for grass to spread, so hopefully it will be done by the end of next episode. And then, of course, as I said, I'm going to go around and, like, touch up all of the interior and everything and make it all look nice. Because, yeah, currently, whilst I do really like the look of it, it's definitely still a bit empty. But with that, all I have left to say is thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you like all of the enclosures which I've made. I really like the ones that we've got today. Like, you know, we've got our standard little shallows one, we've got our nice swamp up there, and then of course we have this really cool beach area. And yeah, next episode, I think we are on to the final 3 things which are going to go in here. Unless, depending on the size of the building and the size of the interior left and stuff, we might go and get these other 2. I'm a bit unsure. We'll just have to see. But for now, thank you for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed, and we are almost done with the bug house. I'll see you next episode.